Welcome back to Disc is Life. I'm your host, Roy, and I'm here with my friend Logan Mueller, teammates on Homegrown and Timber. We're going to be breaking down the Stanford attack, our zone, versus Dartmouth and how Dartmouth broke it down. This was the championship game on the Women's College Ultimate Scene. So this point in particular, Stanford runs a very good zone, and we are going to break down how Dartmouth attacks through the zone.
All right, so what we're looking at here, Dartmouth in this year of Women's College Ultimate was the absolute heavy favorite to take home the title. They had probably four of the top six players in the whole world, most notably number 22. She's on the top of your screen. She's the tallest girl in the whole Ultimate Frisbee. Her name's Jack Verjus. She's tall, she's fast, she's got all the throws. Just truly a dominant weapon in the game of Frisbee this season. And it was a very windy day, which is usually more suitable for zone defense, given that it forces more throws, which can lead to more accidental drops, more accidental bad throws, bad catches, what have you. Similar to football or anything else where you run a zone defense, each player is kind of guarding more of a spot as opposed to an individual person. In Ultimate, oftentimes a zone consists of three layers. The front wall, which is the three players on Stanford that have been following the disc, Stanford in the white, Dartmouth in the black. There's three midfielders, the three in the middle, 51, 60, and the girl on the top of the screen, can't tell her number, and then one person guarding the deep. For the offense, the four handlers, in this case, are trying to move the disc really rapidly throughout that front wall. They're trying to break through so that they can get a space where there's one thrower, four cutters down the field, and only three defenders defending them. That really creates a big advantage for the offense. When the offense breaks through a front wall like that, it's good practice to really put the pedal to the floor and try to start moving the disc as fast as possible. Once you get that front wall on their heels, it's almost impossible for them to catch up. Right here, what happened was right there, what had just happened was the Dartmouth handler, she pretty much plowed into number 22 with the disc. A foul was called, play was stopped, and they simply reset to where they were before that. She was either about to travel or just straight up plow that girl over. Either way, it's totally a foul. So the play stops. Everyone, they talk about it, just make sure it was a foul, play just resets. They'll tap the disc in, and the stall count, which will go to 10, will start up right when they do that.
That type of handler cut is called the chisel cut. It is very crucial in breaking a zone because you are getting that short yardage pass while you are in the air, so you can take your 3 consecutive steps through that zone, but you are not allowed to run into any member of the zone while you're making that cut, as she did there.
So Stanford's been playing some really impressive defense against the very athletic, very consistent front handler movement of Dartmouth. They're always on the run, but they're staying strong in their marks. A really critical part of the game is on these long points like this where you're running back and forth, is really staying consistent once you get up and you're guarding the person with the disc. It's very easy to chase them down and get to where you need to be, but if you can't be active on the person that actively has the disc, it makes it so much easier for them to make easy throws. And with a zone like this, if you're not putting a ton of pressure on the thrower, it really defeats the point because you want to pressure them into making that bad throw. That's the point of the whole defense. Now, Dartmouth, they're moving it pretty slowly right now. I feel like they could be doing more to swing the disc all the way across the field. Like I was talking about before, you want to tire out that front wall as much as you can so that they have worse marks, and eventually they're slowing down. See right there, they broke through, they got a big throw. The Stanford mid-level defense kind of fell apart there. They left one runner open, and truly that's what the offense has been waiting for this whole point, is that 120-yard throw to really get them through that zone and make a lot of progress. Outside of that, this Stanford front wall and those mids have just been absolutely impressive at containing the movement that Dartmouth has been doing here. They have three top tier handlers on the entire grand scheme of women's ultimate, and they've been doing a great job containing them. What just happened there? Jack Verjus pretty clearly just traveled. I believe she caught the disc and proceeded to accelerate, or not make an effort to, in quotes, decelerate. Thus, the travel was called, play is stopped, and disc is going to have to go back to her. The upfield progress that was made on that throw is going to be lost.
Now, the type of zone that they are running on this point is similar to the type of zone that I have run in the past. We run a sponge, but they are running a cup. They are running it in the same format as our sponge, which is 3-3-1. And you can do this in a few different kinds of ways. A 3-3-1 is 3 handlers in the cup trying to force to one side, and 3 defenders in the middle trying to take away the lanes of the cutters, and 1 person deep to defend the deep shot. Here you see that there is someone else helping deep back here. She is the main deep, and she sank back from the outside over here, since there's no one over there to help the deep, so the deep is not totally split. These 2 here are the mids, and over here is the front wall.
So as Dartmouth is getting closer and closer to this end zone, Stanford is going to have to start thinking about going to a person defense as opposed to a zone. When they're spreading out like this, in general, there's going to be at least 1 person that's wide open. When you have the whole field to defend, you can pick and choose, the person that you want to leave open, and then, you just make them be in a spot where it is almost impossible to get a throw to them. As you get closer and closer to the end zone, a lot more of the impossible throws just get a little closer, and for the elite level throwers that Dartmouth has, you've got to tighten it up. Luckily for Stanford, they were able to get that turnover right before the end of the end, right before they have to transition into person defense. And unfortunately for them, not a great throw on that huck. 24 drops it, and they really miss a huge chance to get a score there.
Now they're back into their zone. Usually the call for running back into the zone is set it. Otherwise, you transition into a person defense. The call we like to use, and I've heard of a lot of other teams use when they are transitioning into person defense, is fire. This lets your team know that they should be guarding the closest person to them instead of going to their positions in the zone.
What's up, guys? I'm Mueller. I was on Homegrown, UWSP's Ultimate Frisbee team from 2016 through 2019. Played 4 total seasons with them. It really is the best thing I ever did in my whole life. I showed up, like a lot of Ultimate Frisbee players, didn't really know anything about it my freshman year, and, a couple of the guys were playing just a random scrimmage on a field, and they asked me if I wanted to join. I was wearing jeans and tennis shoes, and everyone else was in shorts and cleats, and I said, well, heck yeah, because it looked like they were having a really good time, and I was all right at it. I did like cross country and track and everything in high school, so I could run fast and for a really long time. But I'd never really played a organized team sport before like that, with an object, or really competing with anybody but yourself ever in my life. So that part of the game certainly took a while for me to adjust to. I was absolutely positively the worst player on the team my freshman year. It was so bad it wasn't even funny, and it really taught me how to put in the work. I threw every single day, before practice, after practice, on my own free time. I was always, looking for somebody to help improve my throws with. That was definitely the worst part of my game, and the most important part of anybody's game. Eventually those started getting better and better. I would go to, stuff like stair workouts, swim workouts, sprinting workouts. Anything I could get in after practice. I don't know what it was that hooked me so quickly, but I wanted to get better at it, and I wanted to get better at it really bad. Sure enough, soon I was playing more points, scoring more points, throwing more scores. Eventually my senior year I became a captain on the team. It was really the first leadership experience I'd ever had. And I really felt like I could take control of the team, really make it what I wanted to be. To start, I took charge of the recruiting. I thought, since Frisbee had been so good to me, it really, it made me more outgoing, more confident, the whole 9 yards there. I wanted to spread my experience to others, so I really used what I had gained through the sport to try to, convince other people to join, and I ended up, getting about the one of the biggest recruiting classes in team history. We brought 7 freshmen to our playoff tournament last year, and all of them had a pretty good amount of playing time and played really well, and it's truly one of my proudest moments. I didn't end up wanting to work in my major. I was a fish management major in school. But I used my experience that I gained from being an ultimate frisbee captain, being a leader of people, being confident, outgoing, and everything else to land a really, really good job out of school. And it true, talking to the guys that interviewed me, they told me that me being able to draw on that experience really impressed them and made me a valuable hire. So frisbee really affected my life far beyond the field. I don't know where I'd be without it. I wouldn't have 3/4 of my friends. I wouldn't have 3/4 of my confidence, which would still leave me with a lot of confidence. But that's about my whole life, man.
Thanks for coming to the show, Mueller. This has been an episode of Disc is Life. I'm your host, Roy, and this is the boy Mueller.